man.
Breathe the air where I stood at. Won't pop Advil, I deal with my headaches. Where am I the headaches? Go and play that back. Y'all rats in these cats ain't got time to go fetch.
Kind of podcast, I guess you can say, about something that me and Josh have something in common, right?
Yeah, what's up, guys? My name is Josh, and Red and I are both big wrestling fans, right?
Very knowledgeable wrestling fans.
All right. Knowledgeable, I guess that's the difference between being a big fan, because you didn't just agree with me.
No. There's a big fan in there. Well, there's a big misconception about, like, what a real wrestling fan is. There's people that, that think...
I know I'm a hater, so I know that's the type of wrestling fan.
No, it's like a parent, because there's certain things that people don't like about what's the line between wrestling and entertainment,
I get it.
Yeah, and
Right, so
what?
no, so yeah, so Red and I are going to talk about the big weekend in wrestling, and that was SummerSlam weekend that just happened here in Brooklyn, and I'm from Long Island, New York, so I went to both NXT, which is the developmental level of the WWE, and tonight I saw SummerSlam. So we're going to talk about both shows.
Yeah, well, you went in person and saw it live, and I saw it on the WWE Network, which I'm not trying to plug anything, so...
I'll take merch if they want to send me stuff.
I know you're all about that, but all right, let's talk about NXT first, because I honestly, if I had to compare the two shows of what happened earlier and the NXT show on Saturday, I would have to say that there was some matches that should have been like main card status that was on NXT, and then there's some matches on the main roster with SummerSlam that shouldn't have been on a big show like SummerSlam.
I think there's definitely wrestlers or acts in NXT that deserve to be called up, and once they are called up, they can easily main event either Raw or SmackDown or WrestleMania or SummerSlam. But NXT is developmental, and overall NXT was such a better show than SummerSlam that I'm happy that NXT exists the way it does, and because the way it exists, that you can have a guy, I guess, like Bobby Roode, or Shinsuke Nakamura, Samoa Joe. Either of them should be main eventing or upper mid-carding any WWE event, but they're there in NXT. They're doing a very good job, and it's this little pocket universe that's fun. And as we talk, you'll see NXT is just a better environment than a very corporate WWE.
I kind of compare NXT to a old WCW, not the dying out one, but the where it was at its peak and everything. Only just because it was something new, and you didn't know you didn't know some of these stars and stuff like that. Like, well, now they call them stars, but they're actual wrestlers and stuff. That's what they identified themselves as, and it has that kind of like that indie feel to it, but also it's like on a different level as an indie show.
It is a very finely tuned indie show with
Yes.
amazing production values, and unlike WWE, which admittedly calls itself sports entertainment, NXT is pro wrestling, and there is a difference. And I like pro wrestling. Not a big fan of this sports entertainment.
I mean, I agree. There's some if it's done right with the entertainment part, but I don't like how like they want to do something gimmicky, and they've done that a lot before. But I think now with the whole brand split, and with the different general managers and Shane McMahon coming in, and with new NXT guys coming in, also I think they're trying to do more wrestling based, but not so much. Too much, what do you want to say, gimmicky stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I don't know. One of the things that I like about NXT is like it's just the competition of everything. I mean, the NXT title isn't as fancy with diamonds and stuff in it, but it's good to see guys that have been in the indies for a while come into there and want to have that title. You know, it might be like one of those things to where it's like put it on the resume or something like that. But you got guys that you didn't expect to be in NXT. I mean, you got Shinsuke Nakamura, who was for years in, New Japan Pro Wrestling and everything. You got Samoa Joe, who was in the Indies for a long time and then was in TNA for years and all that. And like
Both
you
main evented for their respective companies.
yes, and this is you about a few years back you wouldn't expect to see these type of names with the WWE logo right next to them.
Oh, it's amazing to see what NXT in 2016 is because I couldn't imagine this back in 2014. I would have if you told me that NXT would be running a show for the second year in Brooklyn and the second year's main event would be Shinsuke Nakamura going against the current NXT champion Samoa Joe, I would never believe it. But
Yeah.
this is the world we live in and I'm excited to talk about NXT.
Yes, I mean I know they're trying to develop like one of the matches that was in there was that one of the women's wrestlers Ember Moon. They've been trying to push her, and I heard about her. I haven't really watched her. I heard that she's been doing like good things on like the indie scene and everything like that, and she finally came into NXT. Maybe they're
No,
trying.
and it was good, but you know what? Let's go match by match and we'll get to that because I think you know more about the women when it comes to current NXT than I do because that match I think had two new women, so we'll get to that. But the first match was Ty Dillinger took on Wesley Blake.
Yes.
All right, so Ty Dillinger, the perfect 10. I love this character, very fun, and I'm not too familiar with NXT, but I guess Wesley Blake is from Blake and Murphy, right?
Yes, he's part of that team, but ever since they were NXT tag team champions for a while, and then they lost the titles. I think it was to who did they lose the titles? I forgot who they lost the titles from. It's been a while and everything. So they lost the titles, and then Alexa Bliss, who is on the SmackDown brand now, she was also in NXT. She was like their valet and everything for a while, and then once she left them, and then that's when those two. I guess they're trying to like see how they do singles wise.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that I think it's Blake, either Blake or Murphy, one of the two. They went against Shinsuke Nakamura.
A few weeks ago on NXT.
Yeah, on NXT and everything. But I think that I seen them wrestle individually and singles matches. Tag team they're pretty good, but singles matches they need some work. Ty Dillinger, I like his gimmick with the perfect 10 and everything. I think he's a good performer, and I could see I could see the company developing him in some type of way. I mean, they did develop him with the Perfect 10 gimmick, and it's gotten over with the fans and everything. And he had a match, I think it was during WrestleMania weekend, he had a match against Shinsuke Nakamura, if I remember.
Mm-hmm.
And he did actually pretty good against Shinsuke Nakamura, but Shinsuke Nakamura was a little bit more experienced in that. So um, I agree. I like Ty Dillinger's. I like his gimmick and everything. I don't know I don't know what you think about exactly about Ty Dillinger.
Well, I think Ty was around for a little bit in NXT and wasn't doing so well. Then he finally hit with this perfect 10, and it's just it's a fun gimmick. He puts his hands out, all all 10 of your fingers out there, and he goes 10, 10, 10, and like crowds into it. They do it also, and he's entertaining, a solid wrestler. Wesley Blake, I guess his gimmick is he's a narcissist like Lex Luger.
Yeah.
Like yeah, so good match. Uh, Ty won, which is good for him. So
Yes.
I guess they're gonna tape. They're gonna have an NXT tapings the next few days. So I guess this should be good stuff for him. Um, can't really see, who he might be going in a mini feud unless he continues with this Wesley Blake. There's not a really secondary title in NXT, and I don't see him going against Shinsuke Nakamura when he, lost to him probably a few weeks ago anyway.
Yes, and I don't know. They really haven't used him in a feud with anybody. I don't remember anything with had I that he just comes out and then he wrestles and stuff and he does his gimmick with the 10 and with the crowd and then I don't know, maybe they'll start using him more since the call-ups happened.
All right. Well, before we move on, I'll just say Ty Dillinger, Wesley Blake. Do you see either of them getting called up? If so, which show?
Ty Dillinger, SmackDown. Murphy, maybe with Blake, I would say Raw.
Now, could you see this happening as of tomorrow or Tuesday? Or do you think both of them are definitely going to be in NXT come the next, few months?
I think they'll be developed more in NXT for a while.
All right, I agree. So, second match was the Authors of Pain took on TM61.
Yes.
Uh, this is like the second time I saw the Authors of Pain. Are they Samoan?
I think they're Samoan. I think they're. I know they're pretty big dudes, so they look like they're Samoan and everything. And I only seen them wrestle one time on NXT before, and they were with Paul Ellering,
Who they are still with?
yeah, who's currently still with and everything. But it's good to see them, I guess, try to develop these guys to look like a dominant team, kind of like how Paul Ellering was with the original Road Warriors and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when Paul Ellering first debuted weeks ago in NXT, the crowd popped. I forget what was that for. Was it an NXT special or a live taping?
I think it was I think it was a special if I remember.
Okay, well, it's they're
Because I know they attacked the American Alpha when they were still in NXT.
all right, so TM61, they are also TNDK, the Mighty Don't Kneel on the Indies. They recently signed with NXT, and
You're about to go with a very low show there for a minute.
well, I corrected myself. All right, so regardless, TM61, what are your thoughts?
I think they could be developed as a solid team. Honestly,
They already are. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, in the Indies they
They
are. Yeah, that's what I'm saying is like
No, no,
with
I'm
NXT.
agreeing.
Yeah, with like NXT, I think they can be more solid with better competition that's coming in. I guess you can say.
Now, they are either taller than I thought they would be, or the Authors of Pain are smaller than I thought they would be. But I thought the size difference was as much as I was expecting going in. But very solid match, TM61, very comfortable tag team with each other. And even the Authors of Pain, I'm sure they haven't been together as long, but solid match.
Yes, and I don't know, like it's good to see good. It's good to have two guys that want to do tag team to click how they did. I agree with the authors of Pain. They look like they need some fine tuning, but I think they'll get that in NXT.
I think they already improved from maybe the first time I saw them. They maybe I can't. I guess I had an impression that they were green, and now seeing them live, it wasn't the cleanest of everything, but solid, and I can see they're getting better. And I don't necessarily see them getting called up anytime soon. Neither do I see with TM61, but I think they're gonna keep doing their thing over in NXT.
I think they'll probably develop them more for the NXT part of the tag team division, uh,
Mhm.
just because of American Alpha. Basically, was they? I mean, I remember when they put Jason Jordan and Chad Gable together for the first time and everything, and look how they came out, and now they got called up and everything, and they became one of the best tag teams I've seen for a long while.
They are a very good tag team, and I was very excited that they got called up to SmackDown, and I hope SmackDown builds its own tag division to be better than Raw, and American Alpha is definitely going to be like a big part of that.
I agree with that. They should have their own titles, like kind of like what they're doing with the world title. They got the original WWE title on SmackDown, and they got the Universal title. But we'll get into more of the Universal title,
Yes,
because
we will.
All
Listen,
right.
a little while ago, Seth Rollins posted that he was disappointed in Brooklyn for our actions during that match with the chants. And you know what? I think it's not the fans' fault. WWE should have done a way better job at creating a championship title.
Oh, everybody
It's
had a
an
voice to
ugly
say.
looking belt, but I guess we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay.
All right.
So, uh, like I said before, solid match. Got nothing really to say. Ready to get to the next one if you are.
Yeah, I'm going on to the next one.
All right, number 3, good match. Wait, Austin Aries on No Way Jose. Am I reading this in the wrong order?
No way,
All right,
Jose and Austin there. No, you were doing the pre-show, but
Oh,
I saw those ones also. But yeah, the first match on the main card and everything was No Way Jose against Austin Aries.
I like No Way Jose.
I like how they put Austin Aries with him. Because for the first few weeks when No Way Jose came on, like debuted in NXT and everything, he was partying and stuff like that, and it's good to see him. I mean, it's still good to see the character that he has, but it's good that they paired him with someone like Austin Aries.
Yes, Austin Aries is definitely the better worker of the two, and Austin Aries also is a very strong character, and No Way Jose is a very fun, comical guy, but there's not much to him. And
Yes.
this match, I think, was really good for No Way Jose, and I think it was probably better for Austin Aries.
Oh, Austin Aries is the veteran of that match, and just the way Austin Aries is. I mean, his whole gimmick is the greatest man to that ever lived.
Now, is he going back by that in NXT?
He's doing that in NXT. As you can recall, he was doing that also in TNA.
Yeah, I remember him doing in TNA, but I haven't been really watching NXT week to week, and I was
Yes.
surprised that at NXT Brooklyn Takeover 2, there wasn't really a mention of it. I didn't have like the greatest seats, so I don't know exactly what when he does his entrance. He has his little mini cape. I didn't see what was on the back of it, so maybe it had the greatest man who ever lived.
Yeah, the who do you call it? Corey Graves was referring to him as the greatest man to have ever lived, Austin
Good.
Aries and everything. So I think they're
I,
going
I
with that.
like that in TNA, and the fact that he still has that, and Bobby Roode there has been mentioned as the it factor, makes me think that maybe TNA didn't have trademarks on their wrestlers, or
These are the same. This is the same company that frustrated these guys to leave because they couldn't pay them on time, late checks and all that.
yeah.
So,
Now we got a Smashing Pumpkin running it.
well, we'll see how that one goes.
All right, that's a different topic for a different show.
But no, I agree. No way, Jose Austin Aries match pretty good. Austin Aries came out with the win. That's what I expected for that match.
Yeah, wouldn't have made sense for Austin Aries to lose. So, No Way Jose probably comes out of this better, because at least he was in the ring with a veteran, and No Way Jose had in the beginning of this a bigger entrance than normal. Group of people came from the outside the ring by the crowd, and they got to go around the ring. And No Way Jose did his dance, and it was all big fun. So an improvement for his character there, and for them taking the money and time to give him something special. So, where do you see No Way Jose going?
Right now, I see No way, Jose's character kind of like how a Carlito character is.
Okay.
When Carlito used to be in and everything, but there's another wrestler that was also on the card that I also have some. I don't see the character being a longevity character. It's one of those things that I don't see going for a long time. At some point, yeah, it's a fun thing, with his gimmick and everything. But I think that one at some time, it's they're gonna do a character change. I'm thinking about that for him.
Now, do you think the character change happens in NXT, or does he get called up to Raw, SmackDown, have a run, then get repackaged?
This is the thing about the main roster is that sometimes you don't know what's going to happen with the NXT wrestlers.
Hmm.
I think if they keep going with his gimmick in NXT and he gets called up, I think he's gonna still have the same character, but they're gonna keep him as that character. If he comes in as that character, I'm thinking that they're gonna keep him as that character, and they're not going to. They're just gonna keep him around for the entertain. That's where the entertainment line is drawn right there. You know. Um,
Now, do you think that's just his level? Because I
I
could see this just being, No Way Jose. He is that he is that theme song, and that's pretty much it.
yeah, I don't think honestly with me the way he works, that's not his level. I think he could be, if he develops a little bit more better and everything, I think he could be on a better level. But I'm just afraid about the whole gimmick thing that he has now, and they
Mhm.
continue into the main roster, and they just stick him with that for the rest of his career.
He can easily become a gimmick character. Now, Austin Aries, do you see him sticking in NXT or being called up eventually?
I could see Austin Aries getting called up eventually. I could see him feuding with guys like Seth Rollins and whoever else, Kevin
So
Owens and all them.
you think he can get that high up?
I think he could get that high up. He developed himself in TNA, and then when he came into NXT, everybody knew who he was and everything. So I think he's got that factor to where he can, work a good match. You give him somebody who can work also a good match, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that he can do two people like him and another person who can work can do magical things. I think he could do a good match with people like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and all them. Those guys are excellent workers, and I think he could have really good matches with those guys.
Not only do I agree, and I think that he could have very good matches with anybody up there, like you had mentioned, a Kevin Owens or Seth Rollins, but I think he can have very good and entertaining and solid pro wrestling type of promos with these guys to build up matches, and they can get their characters over, and he could probably do great live commentary with commentating on a match where the guy he's feuding with is taking on another opponent. So I can definitely see him going up. I hope he goes up,
Yes.
but um, don't see him getting up there without maybe falling, unfortunately, into this cruiserweight thing that's coming to Raw, and maybe him, owning that division. But then again, he would be in a different division from the heavyweights, and they're going to be treated differently.
Yes, unless he gets, I think the cruiserweight part is only exclusive for Raw. So if he gets, I think if he goes to SmackDown, he'll have a better opportunity.
All right. Well, let's hope that Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon do the right thing and draft him before Stephanie and Mick Foley can get their hands on him.
I agree with that one. I
All right.
agree with that one.
Next match: Ember Moon versus Billie Kay. Now, this one I'm excited to talk to you about because Ember Moon, this was her debut, right?
Yes.
And Billie Kay has been there for not too long, right?
Yeah, she's been there for a while. I've seen her wrestle a few times before.
Okay, so I didn't realize that this is my first time seeing either of them. Billie Kay came out first. I like her entrance. I like what she was wearing, but unfortunately, I heard a few people chanting "Where's Blue Pants?" So that maybe could work against her. Now, Blue Pants is a little fun character, female wrestler jobber for NXT for a while there,
Yes.
and a little cult hero. So that's why that was so funny. But Billie Kay's Australian apparently.
Yes, she's from Australia.
All right, didn't know that. TM61 are also Australian, and NXT is planning on doing a few house shows over in Australia. So I'm sure things are going to be good for Billie Kay was it?
Billie Kay.
Billie Kay, even though she was defeated by the debuting Ember Moon.
Yes.
Ember Moon, what do you know about her? Because this is the first time I'm seeing her.
Ember Moon, I heard some good things about her. I haven't seen her like wrestle before, but I heard good things about her, like just the way she works and everything. I think this is another wrestler that you could put in with somebody who can work, like someone like Bailey or Sasha Banks or somebody, and they would have a pretty good match, you know. I think her match with Billie Kay was pretty good. Billy Kay is a solid wrestler as well. I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that she's not a worker or anything like that,
It was a
But
good match, but it wasn't perfect because there was that botch where one of them couldn't pick the other one up.
yes.
Yeah, and but good match overall. Um, I also the only thing I really knew about Ember Moon was that people said that she was really good, and I didn't know what to expect because it was name only, so I didn't know who was gonna come out, and I was not expecting a werewolf to
Yeah.
come out. Billy Kay has these. Um, I'm not 100% sure on this because I'm not a doctor, but I don't think people's eyes get that red. So I'm gonna guess that's contacts. But I don't know these type of things.
Yeah, I think they're contacts, to be
Gotta be.
honest. Yeah, they
But
gotta be.
again, I'm not a doctor, so I don't hold me to that.
But what did you think about her finish?
Okay, so her finish is I guess technically top rope, not stunner, but what, or maybe like a throwback.
It looked like like the way she did it and the way she came down, it looked like exactly like a stunner, and like she hit it. I want to say perfect because she grabbed where how Steve Austin used to do his stunner, he would just like come down on it. That's basically how she looked with that coming off the top. And I like how Billy Kay, sold it pretty good, because it looked painful to me.
it, I wouldn't want. Okay, first off, I wouldn't get into the ring with either of these two chicks because they'd whoop my ass. I'm totally fine admitting to that. Um, Ember Moon, to me, I guess she goes off the top rope and she catches you into a stunner because you're drowsy and you're kind of bent over begging for it, and she's like, "I'm just gonna stun you off the top." And I like my jaw, and it looked like Billy Kay, hit hers pretty hard, and I don't want that to happen to me.
I don't know.
Solid finisher.
It was a solid finish. It was a solid match. I think besides the botch that happened, um, it happens on live TV. Botches and stuff like that. And but other than that, I think they didn't let. I mean, I know some people let it get to them throughout the match, and they mess up still and everything. But
Mm-hmm.
I think after that fact, they didn't let it get to them. They had a solid match, and I think it was pretty good for the show.
Okay, so both of these girls, I think, are not going to get called up to the roster anytime soon. I think both of them are going to be good additions to the, developing NXT women's division because NXT seems to have a good eye when it comes to women's talent. You, NXT gets credit for Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, Charlotte, Bailey, and Alexa Bliss just got called up. And I see Ember Moon eventually getting called up. Billy Kay, I think will also eventually get there. But, they'll probably spend the next few weeks or months in NXT developing. And, I see good things for both of them.
Yes, I agree with that one. I agree with everything you said there. I mean, I couldn't say any
All right.
better.
So, yeah, because you're not glorious. And speaking of glorious, the next match.
Next match was this is what I was talking. Remember what I was telling you about character development or character change, character whatever.
Mm-hmm.
First let's talk about Bobby Roode. What did you think about Bobby Roode?
Bobby Roode there's one word to describe Bobby Roode. That is glorious. From his entrance to his theme song, unfortunately not to his finisher, but everything is glorious about him.
I think I really got impressed by what they did with him. I seen him do NXT house shows, but this is his first actual on-screen debut with NXT. Um, I like his entrance. It was pretty good. It's just the way he looked. From his robe, looking kind of Ric Flairish a little bit,
Well,
and
it's green if I'm mistaken.
yeah, and I don't know. I'm excited to see what Bobby Roode can do in NXT. I'm excited to see Bobby Roode be in WWE in general on the main roster and everything.
See, there's something special about Bobby Roode. He's got it, and by it, I mean he's got the it factor. And
Yes.
I'm glad that that gimmick has and those wording had come over from his TNA experience. Bobby Roode was very good in NXT. One of its probably pillars, I would say, of NXT for the past TNA for the past few years, and I don't think they're dumb for letting him go because he had done everything he could there, and thankfully he had an opportunity with NXT, and Triple H um, took not a chance because I think Bobby Roode is a solid player. He's a solid worker. He's a solid wrestler. He's a solid character and entertainer. And if you have a roster, you want him on it. And NXT has him right now, and I'm excited about that.
All I can say about Bobby Roode is that I'm happy for him because I know one of the reasons why he left TNA was because of the pay, not getting paid on time, getting late checks and stuff like that. And all I could think about Bobby Roode being in NXT, actually being in WWE in general, is that he's getting the pay that he deserves for being the character and being the wrestler and being the worker that he is.
I'm very happy for Bobby Roode. On Twitter, he had posted a photo, and on the left side is a photo from 15 years ago with a maybe DX style Triple H cutting a promo, and on the outside of the ring are police officers, and who's right there in the center but Bobby Roode. And 15 years later, on the right side of this photo, it's Triple H and Bobby Roode in their suits, looking dapper, shaking hands.
I mean, he's finally got his calling, I think, and it's good to see him in something more developed and with a little bit better competition.
So Bobby Roode comes out and his entrance. What did you think? Because I didn't see it from television. What happens here?
Television lights go out. There, he's on that platform, and his music hits.
Now it's a platform right away, or
I'm not sure if it's a platform or of something.
it's like a hydraulic lift that lowers down. I think.
Yeah, and they had the spotlight on him. His music goes with what he was doing. I think
glorious music.
Everybody was all for it. I like how the crowd was for Bobby Roode throughout his whole entrance.
Now, I don't know how it got picked up on the television, but being there live. Now, Bobby Roode's, like you said earlier, he had some matches at live events, but he had not, I guess, done his official debut.
Yes.
He had been, or in-ring debut. He had, I guess, done some promos on NXT television. But now, people have heard his theme song on television or only through YouTube videos?
This is the first time I've heard his. I mean, no, not the first time. I mean, he debuted on NXT, like the tapings or whatever, the show and everything, with the entrance and everything. That's the first time I've seen him with that. Also on NXT Brooklyn, but on those house shows, NXT house shows and everything, he was using like a generic entrance song. So I think for him, I think they've been developing this entrance music for him, for his character, for him, just the way he is,
All right, and his music is probably by CFOs, right?
Yes.
Okay, that is WWE's almost in studio band that has created some fantastic themes for a lot of NXT wrestlers, and I'm guessing there's probably some influence on the main roster, but amazing theme song. Go check it out. It's called Glorious. Check in Bobby Roode Glorious, and you will find his music. And so when his entrance began and his song hit, everyone in the audience knew what to do. They knew the words, and it's a simple song, but it's glorious, and I can't remember the words right now, but everyone was singing it. So I don't know. Did you guys realize that the whole crowd knew the theme song and was singing it?
Yeah. Just you could hear the crowd. You could see the crowd. They were into Bobby Roode on watching it from TV side and everything, and it's good to see him get over. He came, from TNA and everything, and it's good to see a crowd like that, like how Brooklyn was and everything, to be into that entrance, that whole entrance.
Mhm. Okay, so Bobby Roode, great entrance, was glorious. Both of us agree with that. He took on Andreas Almas,
Yes, or
who was the former. Go.
I think you're talking. I think you said his name wrong.
That's very possible. This is the first time I'm seeing him live, but he
What?
is from like AAA or CMLL, right?
Yes, and I think you're talking about Andrade Cien Almas.
Yes,
Yes.
because middle names matter in Spanish.
Yes, but this is what I was talking about with the whole No Way Jose gimmick thing. Like being stuck with a certain gimmick that doesn't kind of work in a way I don't want the way with Cien Almas. I think his whole entrance and everything, the way he comes out, what he wears and everything. I don't really see that sticking. I don't really see that on a, if you want to say, intercontinental title contention level type wrestler.
Now, how do you pronounce his name exactly? Andreas Cien Almas?
No, Andrade Cien Almas.
Okay. We'll
Just
go by whatever you just said, because I can't say that.
just say
Now,
just
he
say
comes,
just say just say Cien Almas.
I'm going to call him that guy. So, that guy.
That guy.
All right, so, yeah, that guy. He's from CMLL. He went under the name La Sombra.
Yes.
And I'm guessing masked wrestler, right?
Yes.
Okay, so they took the mask off.
Yes.
And he's wrestling without the mask, and he's got suspenders. Hey, that's his
Hey,
gimmick.
hey.
Hey, that guy with the suspenders. All right, so I think he came out first, and the crowd wasn't into him. We all booed him. The match started. It was a very good match, and he is a very good wrestler, and he can do a lot of crazy things, jumping from the turnbuckles, one side of the turnbuckle to the other, or the ropes leading to the turnbuckle.
Yes.
He's a very good wrestler,
Yes.
and even though this match started, people did not want to like him.
Yes.
I did not want to like him.
I mean, it's Bobby Roode.
I'm all about Bobby Roode because
Yes.
he's glorious. And here I'm thinking I'm just gonna, cheer for Bobby Roode,
Yeah.
Bobby Roode. But as the match goes on, he won us over because
Yes.
he's such a solid worker. He's very good at what he does, and the character is wrong. It needs to be tuned up, or if he gets called up, he's not making it. I don't even think he can get to that Intercontinental U.S. Carlito level, because I think there's nothing there to the character. Your gimmick can't be, I got suspenders, and you don't. Because I don't want suspenders, and I don't care that you have them.
Yeah, I could go with that one.
That's
That's what I'm saying is about his his character and everything. It's on that level of No Way Jose. I don't want him to be stuck with the same gimmick and then have that just be it for him.
this he can't last if this is the plan for him. Hopefully they're invested and they'll tune it, they'll fix it, they'll repackage him. But in ring, he's very good, and he
Yes.
turned a hostile crowd into indifference, where it's I don't want to boo you because you don't deserve it,
Yes.
but you don't deserve my cheer against Bobby Roode. And maybe if he was going against a weaker character, involved, emotionally involved, connected to the fan, bond their opponent, maybe he'd do better.
Yes.
So I think good things are gonna happen for him. I don't know who he could possibly have gone against at this show who's lower than him, where he would have been accepted more than he did. Because, like I said, the crowd was hostile at the beginning, but very early on, because he's such a good worker, he won everyone over in the, well, now I can't boo you.
Yes.
So what am I gonna do? Because no matter what, you're not better than Bobby Roode.
Yeah, I mean, I think he just needs more development with the character. He's a solid worker. He knows how to wrestle and everything, and um, he did good things. I heard good things about him when he was wrestling off in like AAA and all that. Honestly, I would have kept the mask on him. I would have kept him as a masked wrestler.
Now I assume CMLL owns the exact version of La Sombra, but would you change his name, change the mask?
I would change the name. I would keep the mask the same design, just keep changing different colors. Kind of like what Rey Mysterio used to do.
Okay. Now, before we got to this, I wanted to play a little game, and maybe we can play it with this match, this wrestler. Maybe we can play it with a different one. But I want to play a little game. I want to take note of this. Fix the gimmick or change this character.
Okay.
Now, again, this specific example, what is his name? Because I'd rather call him Sombra, because at least I can say that.
Grande CM Almas.
That guy.
That guy.
This
Hey.
guy. Hey. All right. So fix this guy. Is it what you're saying? Put a mask and let him be who he was, but under a new name, new mask, or do you have another idea?
I say fix the gimmick. Fix how he looks. Bring back the mask. Have him wrestle the way he is. Let him be a character that he developed himself in Mexico and everything.
All right. I don't disagree, because there's something missing, and hopefully they fix it.
Yes.
Okay. Good. I'm really happy we got to talk about it. But let's talk about Bobby Roode.
Bobby Roode.
Okay. Earlier I had said everything was glorious about this. Bobby Roode is glorious, his entrance is glorious, his theme song is glorious, but his finisher is not. What did they call whatever that was?
I forgot what they called it. I know that what's his name? Corey Graves gave it a certain name for it. But
Now, live, everyone around me was like, that must be the glorious bomb. But other people said that's not a glorious bomb.
I think that's what they were calling it, was the Glorious Bomb, if I remember. But he, there was some pretty high spots like in that match and everything. It's when it got to that, it was just all like, oh, like that was it, like that. Like I was expecting something different,
As was
and
I, because when the finish happened, he hit whatever that was. I don't know. It's a pump handle drop. I don't know what it is.
yeah, it's just basically just a pump handle drop. That's basically what it is.
What was his TNA finisher? Because I thought Spinebuster has always been either his finisher or one of his big moves.
Yes, I think it was one of his big moves, but we already know what happened with the spine buster in WWE, so that's kind of one of the banned moves on the list for them.
I think after that photo and in overall, like, it's always been said that Triple H kind of has respect for Bobby Roode. He definitely sees himself in it, because the Bobby Roode character is definitely influenced by the Hunter Hearst Helmsley character and portions of the corporate part of Triple H.
Yes, I think that's what he was going for in TNA. It's good to see this, what he, because you know in TNA he was with Beer Money and everything.
Beer money.
But then when he decided to, branch off to be a singles wrestler, I think that's the character he wanted to develop himself, and it's good to see them continue that. Also with what you said, with them using the title, the It Factor, for him.
Yes, and so what do we think his finisher was in TNA?
I gotta remember what his finisher was in TNA. See, this is during the time that I like stopped watching TNA because I didn't really get into TNA all too much. I knew who was
I don't
there.
blame you. I watched for a long time, but I gave up myself too.
I think the only time that I watched TNA more in a year was when Hogan and Bischoff were there,
Hmm.
but after they left and after some people left, and it seems like that they downgraded their production, just the way the show is and everything. I just didn't really care for it all too much.
Well, TNA lost a lot of its fan base for its own reasons, so I understand. All right, so regardless, so Bobby Roode's finisher right now, I guess, is a pump handle drop, where he sets you up in the pump handle, picks you up, and just kind of gives up.
Yes.
I don't like it.
I
I don't
don't.
know what to say. I don't like it. It was underwhelming. You set someone up, you think something's going to happen, and it kind of doesn't.
Oh, he used to do a crossface. It was a arm trap crossface, like a Benoit crossface. He used to do that. I guess the Glorious Bomb is something that he's doing now. Uh, he was doing payoff with the Fisherman Suplex, which he did do a Fisherman Suplex.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, oh, that I thought was his finisher, but it didn't look like it. Now, I gotta admit, I went to YouTube just now and typed in Bobby Roode TNA finisher, and I got something which it sets up like an FU where you're in the fireman's carry position and
Yes,
he throws you and
like a
kind
neck breaker type.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I guess that was his finisher. That is the Rude Bomb.
Yes.
Now, did he do that at any point? I think maybe, but
I just remember the fireman's carry. I think he did that with the fireman's carry neck breaker slam. I saw him do that. I think it was. He does
so our
sometimes.
suggestion to any NXT influenced person would be go back to that as a finisher.
Yes.
Okay. Uh, really good match. Was probably one of, if not, okay, definitely not because the main event is the match I wanted to see. But this
Yes.
was another match that was like, yeah, I'm gonna go take a train to the Barclay and get tickets to see NXT live.
Yes.
This is definitely part of the reason that I was happy going in and coming out. And I don't know if you've been on Reddit or wherever you get your wrestling news. Not you, Red. I'm talking about just people. But there's plenty of videos and stories of people singing the glorious theme song while people are in the subway or they're taking the Long Island Railroad or they're just walking out of the stadium or if they're taking a piss and everyone behind you is telling you that what you're doing is just glorious. So
Oh man.
this glorious gimmick, it's fun for the fans. Everyone's jumping on it, and Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, NXT and an indie and a WCW darling wrestlers and tag team have been having fun with a glorious bomb on Twitter. And if you don't know what that is, go watch that. It's amazing. It's so fun, and that's definitely a contributing factor to why everyone in the audience knew the theme song and was waiting to have fun with Bobby Roode.
I mean, this is one of those characters that I can see sticking and being some. He's got that Triple H corporate look. Also, a something more a little bit prestige, like a Ric Flair
Mm-hmm.
entrance, Ric Flair type work, and everything. I think he can develop something with it. And he can. I can see it on the main roster.
Do you want it on the main roster though?
I want it on the main roster because um, imagine seeing something like that at a WrestleMania.
Uh, it would be glorious. That is the word to describe it. But unfortunately, I think if he goes up, he becomes a small fish in a big pond. And right now, he's a big fish in a small pond in NXT. And I want to see. I'm really excited that we have a new NXT champion. But I
Yes.
think this isn't the year of that person. I think ultimately NXT is going to be built around a heel, and that's Bobby Roode because he's so much of Triple H, and Triple H is so much of Bobby Roode that it only makes sense for NXT to be glorious with a glorious championship and a glorious champion, and that should be Bobby Roode.
I
Now,
think
I
you're
just
right.
wish his paycheck would be also glorious, and I don't see that happening unless he gets called up.
Honestly, I think he's happy with his paycheck. At least he's getting the paycheck on time.
That's such a very valid attack on TNA, though.
It is true though.
And that's why I can't get mad at you, but I gotta think that WWE is paying him more, and I'm hoping honestly that he's signed with the understanding we're gonna build NXT around you because it needs a solid worker, it needs a solid character, it needs a solid
Well,
person at the helm.
that's what they
And
did with Finn Balor. They built NXT around him for like a year and a half,
mhm.
and I think Bobby
It
Roode can
worked,
be that
yeah.
same person.
And I think it will also work with Bobby Roode, but it will be yet to see if I want to call him Devitt, but that's my own thing. What is his WWE name? You just said Finn Balor works on the main stage.
I think
He
everybody
works in
who's
NXT. I don't know if he works in the main.
I think everybody who's a hard like not hardcore fan but is knowledgeable in the wrestling sense, they would either call him Balor or Devitt. You know.
I know I call him Devitt because it's just how I know him. I I don't want to be disrespectful by I couldn't remember his WWE name, but Finn Balor got called up to WWE on Raw. Very happy for him, and arguably he is being pushed to the top faster than anyone else. But unlike a lot of people he can be compared to, he probably deserves it, and it'll be seen to see if he earns it at that level. But he definitely deserved it and earned it at the NXT level, the same way that Bobby Roode deserves it. But we'll see if he can earn it.
I can go with that. I
Okay,
can definitely go with that one.
so both of us agree, very good match.
Very good
Bobby
match.
Roode, thumbs up. Definitely good things for him in the future, right?
Yes, I can see that
Now,
also.
now that guy, this guy, Almasi, what is La
CN.
Sombra?
Yeah, just go by his name before.
Okay, and I don't mean disrespect for him. It's just I don't like the name. I agree with you. Repackage him, do something different. Change the name because I can't even tell you what the name is. Uh, Solid worker, but something's got to change. But if something changes, I see very good things for him. Probably in the cruiserweight division. Do you agree?
Cruiserweight division, yes. If he goes to Raw, I can see him doing stuff with the cruiserweight division.
Okay, so both guys, good things gonna probably happen to them. Probably both gonna stay in NXT for at least the rest of the year.
Um, I can see them going for the rest of the year. I don't see them going. I don't see them getting called up. Not even at the end of the year. It's a toss up during WrestleMania season. You never know.
Yeah,
It really
I
depends on how
agree.
the
I want
character
to see Bobby
develop.
Roode on an NXT. I mean, on a WrestleMania level. I want to see a glorious WrestleMania Bobby Roode entrance.
I say if Bobby Roode doesn't get called up by December, because usually WrestleMania feuds and matches start developing around Royal Rumble time, January.
Mhm.
So if he doesn't get called up at least in December, then he won't be at WrestleMania.
Okay. I mean, I see him staying in NXT for a while and then building around him, and I really just hope his paycheck reflects the importance that I think he will end up playing.
I agree with that. I'm happy for him that he's somewhere where he's happy.
Okay.